I have decided, since having a program holds you more accountable and helps you stay on track to accomplish an end result, I will be presenting a weightlifting program. This is to help you get on track this new year, have a definitive plan to follow and progress through, and something to challenge you if maybe you've already done some weightlifting or done some powerlifting or other programs and need a way to mix it up. So the way that it's going to work is every week, starting today with this video, I'm going to release 1 day of training. So this is week 1, day 1. Next week, I'm going to release day 2, and then day 3, and then day 4, and then day 5. So over the course of 5 weeks, you're going to get the full program. If you want to have the full program and don't want to wait the entire 5 weeks to get it piecemeal day by day, go ahead and look down below in the description, and I'll go ahead and write down the full program there. I'm going to be walking you through with voiceover content every single workout as I release it, and if you have any questions at all, leave a comment below and I will contact you and answer or clear up any questions or concerns you might have. Old-fashioned oats. Comment, make sure you subscribe so that you get this entire program, and I will see you in the next one.
What's going on, guys? Super excited to present this workout and this program in its entirety to you. Doing this series, I think already I've enjoyed it, and I know I'm going to enjoy it a lot more. From the inception of coming up with the idea and putting the program together to actually doing it, recording it, editing it myself. This is what I love doing. I was a personal trainer for many years, and I love sitting down with people and coaching them, answering questions, and just kind of helping the light bulb click for everybody when it comes to their personal fitness journey. And I think it's important to keep that in mind. As we look here at this workout, you're going to see kind of, my interpretation of some things. You're going to kind of see what I do, but I'm going to explain everything with this voiceover, hopefully give you a little bit more pertinent detail than just what video would show, or if I just wrote out the program and gave it to you guys. And hopefully if you have any questions, you'll be sure and hit me up and we can get those resolved as soon as possible. So I started this workout off today as the day 1 workout with mobilization. Now, I didn't write down specific mobilizations or warm-ups. That's situationally dependent, and it's very personally dependent on the individual. So what's tight, what's sore, what's beat up, what tends to give you issues, what's rehabilitating from a surgery, that's going to be different for everybody. And it's going to be different on the time of week, the time of what you trained last night, how well you rested, how long you were sitting in your car, how you slept last night, all of that. So I did a lot of foam rolling here for this workout, hit the hips pretty well, the glutes, and then flossed into the lats for quite a while. I didn't film my entire warm-up by any means. The gym was super busy and it was hard to get good angles and good footage without people coming and going and kind of messing it up. But here is something I really like to do, taking the barbell and just kneading pin all over the quadriceps. I'm flossing around, I'm shifting, I'm going back and forth and just really working the quads, getting some blood flow, getting some stimulation, but really just kind of flossing through the knots and kind of that fascial layering there. That's a tongue twister. I actually did this for 2 minutes. But I fast forwarded kind of the whole thing for the sake of this video so you guys don't have to sit there and watch me warm up for the entirety of it. Whatever you need to do to warm up, though, make sure you dedicate time to it. I mean, there's times where I have warmed up for 20 minutes before every single workout, trying to build mobilization, address some corrective exercise issues, some tight ankles, whatever else. So many people skip their warm-up or you know, kind of half-heartedly go through a warm-up, and then they really struggle when it comes to the actual movements, or they're hurting themselves, or, oh, my wrists hurt when I do that. I can't get all the way down in the squat, yada, yada, yada. That's just an excuse. I mean, if you're not taking the time to warm up, get to know your body, get to know these movements, then yeah, it's going to hurt. It's going to, you know, disallow you from some of these movements, and you're not going to reap the benefits from them. So, like I said, I didn't even film the entirety of my warm-up, but I just kind of did some PNF stretching, some SMR, and just kind of got right into it, right? And I take my time warming up with lower weights, kind of segmenting into more weights. So let's jump into the first exercise for this program, for this day, which is the barbell snatch. Now, in the program is 8 singles working up to a 1 rep max. Of course, those singles are going to be different weights, so I don't actually count my singles. I just work up to a 1 rep max, okay? Hypothetically, you could get there in 2 or 3 reps, but is that a true max? I'm definitely not warm. So you can see here, I'm kind of just starting power, muscle snatching, whatever it is with the barbell. There's no rhyme or reason. I'm doing doubles, triples, sets of 5. Again, I'm feeling it out. So this isn't written down. This isn't something to hold yourself really strict to. We're working up to kind of a training max. How are you feeling that day? Where are the strength levels at? You can see their little power snatch. I think that's about 100 pounds. Looks like 25, so 95 pounds. I power snatch it a couple times just to kind of get the shoulders warming up, and then kind of pull all the way under the bar there in that full snatch. Looks like I do another one from the hang all the way down. Feeling good, looking good, smelling good. So let's go ahead and jump into the next set here. I probably added a 10, maybe a 15 on each side, I think. So I don't even know, 130, 125. I don't know what that is. But again, just feeling it out, you know, just seeing how's my body feeling, what do I need to work on, where's the speed, all those types of things. Am I sore? You know, what's going to be the trouble area here? You can see that overhead stability a little bit shaky there, but I just kind of jump right into it and just go right through it. Good catch, good stabilization there. At this point, I think that was actually my max rep right there. So you can see just 5 or 6 reps and I'm all the way at the top. Almost lost it behind, tip the butt back, catch, stabilize, keep the lockout, stand it up when it's secure. That was 215 pounds is what I worked up to today. Certainly not a PR, but felt pretty good. So then based off of that max, I calculate the rest of today's workout. So off of 215 pound snatch, I have a 5x5 snatch grip push press, and that's always done behind the neck. I love this exercise. Builds shoulder strength and stability, really helps you pushing under and stabilizing the bar in the bottom of the snatch movement, and it really helps build that kind of explosive power position through the hips and legs as well. I like to do this catch, you know, decelerate and reciprocate straight into the bar using that stretch reflex. I find it's a little bit more athletic. It forces proprioception or balance a little bit better. And it's, to me, it's just more effective as far as what I'm trying to get out of it versus resetting every single rep, you know, standing back up, dipping and driving. So probably couldn't go quite as heavy doing it reciprocating like this, where you go straight rep into rep into rep. But again, I think it really helps build kind of some of that fast twitch function of the muscularities. You can see getting a little bit hard to lock out when I don't put the hips fully into it. I think this is, you can see down there in the description, but I think it's about 80% or something like that of the full snatch. It might be less than that, but it's not light. You know, it certainly isn't light. I couldn't strict press this, snatch grip or otherwise. So the hips are paramount. I mean, I need the leg drive here. I need the hip drive to lock out the lift, but it's a lot on the shoulders, especially at the top. And then at the same time, when I come down, I'm also decelerating into the behind the neck position. So really, really good for eccentric and concentric portions there. Straight after that, third exercise now, technically, I am doing a snatch grip deadlift. Now, I do my snatch grip deadlift like Dmitry Klokov, keeping the hips high, and you will feel your low back and your hamstrings talk to you. You'll notice here I had a rewrap. It sets at 5 sets of 3 repetitions, and the straps I was using slipped pretty decently. So I actually switched to my wife's pink straps here in a little bit, but this first set I just had to reset pretty much every time, every single repetition. They tended to slip on this weight, and I think this was 130% or so, maybe 150%, I want to say. Again, look down in that description for the exact numbers here, but I think this was about 325 pounds. I had kind of some weird plate configurations on there, but a little over 300 pounds, 3 1/4 or so. And for sets of 3, not too bad on a deadlift, but you throw the snatch grip in there and the keeping the hips high, and it really fried my low back, which is exactly what we want in a controlled way. It wasn't overcompensation in the low back. It's just weightlifting happens to work your low back quite a bit. So you can see there I've got the other straps on the wrist that you can double wrap. I'm actually going to be putting out a video about wrist straps review pretty quick here, all the different types I use and why and what I find to be the best. So stay tuned for that, certainly. This was hard. 3 reps, triples for sets of 5. It did a lot for the nervous system. It does a lot for that pulling position, for overall strength, just tension kind of through your whole body, keeping everything nice and tight. The upper back as well. But I find that by keeping the hips high, I get a little bit more positional strength in kind of that power position, just working that posterior chain more. So if I do a snatch pull, I'll actually set the hips down more like if I was doing a real snatch, but the heavier that the barbell gets for the snatch, the higher my hips will come before the bar clears the floor, if that makes sense. And you'll probably be able to see that even in this video at the beginning when I worked up to the max. Anything over maybe 185 or so, my hips tend to come up a little bit high, and that's kind of a consistent problem. That weight gets out in front of you. A lot of times you'll get it overhead, but you won't be able to stabilize it, and it'll come right back down in front of you. And this program is kind of designed to help with that, with some of the movements later in the week, which we'll be breaking down here in a future video, but already setting the tone. It's not an easy program, and, do your darndest to stay with the weights, stay with the percentages, don't give up on it, put in the time, embrace the suck, and just take as long a rest as you need. You see they're really setting the knees out, really forcing kind of that external rotation and just pulling right there, staying nice and tight, and just really focusing on a good clench at the top, staying braced through the whole thing. Love this exercise. What a great exercise. Totally beats me up. And then finally, I believe this is the last exercise here. Yeah, just going straight for the back squats. This was 275. I did do a warm-up set or two. After all those deadlifts, I wanted to get to where my low back wasn't talking to me while I came all the way down into the squat, and it actually felt really, really good. So I squat with a fairly narrow stance. That's for a couple of reasons. I've had some hip impingement issues in the far past that my hips aren't just let me try that again. My hips are not designed to squat or, snatch or clean or any hip flexion, knee flexion movement very wide. Sumo deadlifts, no issue. I can sumo deadlift all day. I actually really like it. But when it comes to the full squat mechanic instead of the hinge mechanic, I do not do well when my feet are very wide. So I tend to snatch and clean and squat and front squat with a relatively narrow stance, focusing on pushing those knees out. It's fairly athletic, and it translates well into what I'm trying to use it for. But this weight here, believe it or not, was actually fairly challenging. 275. It'd been a while since I'd done a 5x5 on back squat. Little bit frustrating. I remember I was doing like 315 for a 5x5, no problem, probably just a year ago. So, looking myself in the mirror and admitting that I'm still in a building phase. I'm not the strongest I've ever been in my life. Is never a fun pill to swallow, but definitely doing the work that it takes to get back to that point. And like I said, sometimes just ignore the numbers and just do what the program tells you. Don't worry about where you are, where you've been, where you're headed. Just do what the program tells you. Turn your mind off. Go through the motions, and I promise it's going to make a difference long term. And that's one of the great things about having a program that hopefully a lot of people out there can glean from this video and in the future videos in this little series. Let me do the work for you. Show up at the gym, follow the little program we've put together here, and I promise you it's going to do something for you. It's going to be mentally and physically stimulative. It's going to get you further than you are now, and it's going to give you that direction and that motivation to keep after it. So I took pretty good sized rest, probably anywhere from 90 seconds to 2 minutes between these sets. Pretty brutal. And it didn't feel taxing on the legs as much. My back was a little fatigued from those pulls and things earlier, but it's almost just more nervous system for me. My legs get a little beat up from doing this kind of stuff, but I don't know. It's almost hard to explain, but it's just stimulating the nervous system at that level. Doing a workout like this with specific percentages feels great, right? Definitely did sleep well after this workout. Can't wait for the next one. Stay tuned. Make sure you subscribe to catch it, and we will catch you guys in that next video.